people, how's it going? I am trying something else out today that I've never made. So I'm making scalloped potatoes today. And I've taken a look at a few recipes. What it basically boils down to is some cheese, butter, a little milk, and some flour. Now, I'm sure like me, you know, one of the problems I have with a lot of the recipes of this is that the flour makes it gritty. So what I'm going to do is, the thing calls for 3 tablespoons. I'm going to go for 2 teaspoons. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little more cheese than what they are saying. So the recipes, most of the recipes I've seen are, you know, in the, let's say, half a cup to 1 cup. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using about 1.5 cups. And we're going to see how that works. Again, never made this, so I don't know how it's going to come out. But I thought, hey, we can do it together and we can figure this out. So there's about 1 cup. And I'm just going to pour the rest in there. There we go. Now, all the recipes that I've seen say, you know, to put onions in it. But I'm thinking, well, why wouldn't you... Okay, you're putting onions in it, but why wouldn't you grill those onions? I think that would be a great flavor for scalloped potatoes. You know, and I was thinking, wow, man, you know, if we could grill those onions, that would really give it a really sweet flavor that might be a little bit different. So again, you know, one of the things is just try new stuff. What's the worst that can happen? You know? Supposedly this is about 1 cup of milk, so we're going to add that in. Now, what I like to do whenever I'm trying to melt something down like this, is try to add the milk a little bit at a time. Because what I find that happens when you put it in all at once is the cheese tends to chunk up, and then so you've got liquidy milk basically with cheese chunks. And of course, you know, that's not really what we're looking for. We're looking for something that's going to be smooth and kind of creamy on these. So what I suggest you do is just how I'm doing it. Just add a little bit at a time. And wait till the cheese starts melting, and you can see that on the bottom of the pan. You can see it start melting now. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this, but see how it's melting? See, like you can see right in there that it's melting. But if you add too much water, it'll kind of congeal together, and then you get like a big mush mess thing. Now, because I'm adding more cheese, I might actually have to put you back in your stand there. I might actually have to have a little more milk, because the idea is that, you know, you don't want this thick. You know, I mean, you do want it thick. It's kind of a delicate thing, but you don't want it like pudding going on there. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at this, and I think I'm okay. Now this is turning out really nice, but again, I'm a little bit worried that it's just a little too thick. And of course, I probably could have gotten rid of the flour altogether and made this much more cheesy instead of floury. And I know, like mac and cheese, and I'll show you guys how to make mac and cheese here in the future. Good mac and cheese does not have flour in it. I'll just say that. Oh, it's pretty good. Gonna need a little salt. That's pretty darn good. Now, I think I'm going to add just a tad more milk because to me, it looks like it's a little thick, and I know that when I heat it up, of course, it's going to get even thicker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more milk, maybe about a 1/4 cup, something like that. This is whole milk. If you're using 1%, add less. There we go. And I think this is pretty nice. Now, what I have here, now of course the lumps you're seeing in there is are the onions. But I think it needs to thicken just a bit, but I think that's pretty good. Now, what I've done here is I've gotten some just russet potatoes, put them in a baking dish. I don't think I have quite enough, so I'm going to do a few more while you guys are sitting there. Sorry about that. And there we go. Okay, so I think, yeah, that looks pretty good. See, this even, whoops, sorry about that, guys. This even might be a little bit too thick because I've got to make sure that it covers everything on here, you know. But it's looking a little thin on the edges. So what I'll try to do is incorporate that. I think this is pretty good. So what we're going to do, normally, but again, I'm cooking this in the afternoon and we don't eat until the evening. So what you want to do is preheat the oven, it said to 400 degrees. I think one of the things about this is you're going to have to bring it up. I like mine crispy. So you're probably going to have to bring it up and broil it at the end to kind of top it off. That would be my guess. So I will do that and I will come back with results. So what I want to do here is I just want to pour out a little bit of this or drizzle it on. I'm not really sure what to do. I guess I'll pour it. And then what I'll try to do is spread it because, you know, I don't want to get caught with not enough of this. That would suck. And I know that people like this stuff, so I don't really have a fear of it going bad or that, you know, it's cheese and potatoes, so I don't really have a fear that people aren't going to like it. You know, hopefully it turns out well, but I think it will. So I want to make sure that I've got enough of this, but I don't think that you can overdo the cheese sauce, I guess is what I'm saying. So we're just going to throw the rest of those on there. Kind of make like a casserole out of it, I think is the idea on this. You know, it's funny because scalloped potatoes is one of my favorite dishes, but I rarely get it because, generally speaking, it's got that terrible flour consistency that I just hate. You know, I hate that grittiness. So generally speaking, I don't usually get it. And it's one of my favorite dishes, but it's just one of those things where it just seems like every time I have it, I'm really disappointed in, I guess, in the recipe or in the way that they make it, I suppose. So, looks pretty good. That's good. So I've just got a few left here, so I'm just going to kind of make another layer. And you know what, since I've got one more potato out. Now, of course, I would imagine that one of the things is that the thicker these, you know, this kind of casserole sort of is, the longer it's going to take to cook. Now, I also have the pork roast that we were talking about earlier that I was showing you. I've kind of got that already rocking. So I was thinking that I would put these both in at the same time. This, I think, will cook before the roast. So what I'm thinking is I'll cook this. I'll put the roast on. I'll cook them at the same time. And when this is done, I'll take it out, and then I'll just nuke it afterwards. And of course, I ran out, and I don't have enough. So I'm gonna have to make a little bit more. Probably shouldn't have put that last. Shouldn't have put that last one in there. But I'll figure it out, and I think we'll be able to make it just nice. It smells really good. So I will come back with the results. Have a great day. I'll see you in a minute. Well, hello there. We are back. I wanted to let you guys check it out and see how it turned out. So I wanted to show you first the, now this is the pork mixture that we had with the spinach, mushrooms, onions, and bell peppers. And it turned out really good actually, but it's a little tinny for me. So I wimped out and I put ketchup on the top of this and then kind of roasted it over the top. So I kind of wimped out a little bit. I thought it was a little too bitter. And then here's the au gratin potatoes, and they look like they turned out like super good. So, I mean, look at those. So we're jamming. So just wanted to let you guys know. Have a nice night.